Good morning, you guys. Welcome to Winning with Win. This podcast is done by IBMTV, and I have teamed up with them. For those of you that don't know my story is a story of survival. I actually lost both my parents, and I started doing YouTube work in 2010, and it was amazing to me when I started YouTube work in 2010 how my reach had grown in 2010. And then I hooked up with IBMTV by the power of being on Mind Closet 101, which, by the way, Mind Closet 101 comes out on Friday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern, same as this, even though it's 7 a.m. here in Aspen, Colorado. And I am really excited to be interviewing phenomenal women and men about women's empowerment, more about women's empowerment than men's empowerment, but I believe that women's empowerment should be at the forefront because I also believe that in the times we are sitting in now in the pandemic, I also believe that social justice and women's empowerment is something that is here to stay, and it is here to stay. And I also believe that whether you come from a different religious background or in a different international country, I also believe that it's something that most women need to be empowered about, and most women need to come out and be in their own shells because we all come from different walks of life to empower one another. And I'm really excited to be hooked up with IBMTV and share my journey across with you guys and share my journey across with the world. I also have a podcast too, that my YouTube channel, my own personal YouTube channel, Wins Women of Wisdom at the time, got transferred into a podcast called ASKWIN, and that's on every podcast player knowing band, including Amazon smart speakers and on soon to be on Google. And so I just really, really want to teach you guys lessons and teach you guys how to not look women in the face and say, what are you doing? What are you doing in this job? This job is not for you. This job is for men, women in construction, I'm talking about. And what are you doing? And I want the men to know that they're empowered too. It's not all about women's empowerment, it's about men being empowered too, to support those women, because a lot of times now the women are doing the majority of the work in times we sit in the times of COVID-19, in the times of a world pandemic, which we don't know. And trust me, I've been watching this as a journalist, as a disabled woman myself, as an educator slash a full-time content creator. Even though I'm outside the classroom now, I'm still educating people about women's empowerment and men's empowerment, and I'm still educating people, of course, about my neurological condition called cerebral palsy. And if anyone has any questions for me, they're welcome to DM me. I'm all over the place, and I'm all over Facebook, and I'm all over every which way. And so they're welcome to DM me. They're also welcome to DM me to come on the Women's Empowerment Hour with Win. We call it Winning with Win, Win with Win. And as you can see from the um, intro picture, because we put a beautiful still image up of a woman with covered in flowers. The woman is black, and then she's covered in flowers. But I don't want to make it so it's a women's centered show. I want to make it equal opportunities, like I have done for many, many years, even though it's a pink background, and even though I'm a feminist, rightly so, and I am a feminist, rightly so. I'm also gay, but I'm the type of gay that will stand in the background quietly. I won't do every which way and say I'm gay and slam it down people's throats. I want to empower women and men and children alike, because my favorite story is that why is that young woman in the wheelchair? Why is that young man in a wheelchair and a walker? And the parent looks at the child and says, um, well, it helps the child walk, and it helps the adult walk. And then they don't really explain to the child what's going on with that um, disability. So the child gets their questions answered and then they go about their merry way. But at the same time, it's like we need to teach people how to empower those with disabilities, empower those in the religious sense, empower those every which way. And we need to use IMTV as an educational platform. And Podcasters Thursday is a great way to start out. IMTV is just a wonderful way. We did a podcasters Thursday with um, one of the original testers of IMTV, and then that's how IMTV got started. IMTV got started in Nepal, of all places, and this person runs a national television program out of Nepal. And when IMTV started, they used him as a test subject. And so now that I say we because I'm not only a guest now, I appear as a guest, but I am a show host too on Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern and at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. So when we started this, I did not know that it started in Nepal until I sat there the other day and listened to this person, and we're still working on the kinks of IMTV, but so far so good. I mean, we have everything from chess to inspirational shows to every which way. And so this was just the introduction of my show and the work I'm doing in collaboration with IMTV. But I have people lined up to come on next week to be interview and be a panelist here because it's me. People want to support me, and they also want to support what I'm doing, even if it is a collaboration with someone like IMDb. So I'm ultimately very, very blessed to beginning this journey again. And believe it or not, as I said to you guys earlier, Wins Women of Wisdom, which is still up. I just don't update content more anymore. It's still up. It's still on YouTube. Was a original YouTube channel, and so it lands up being 10 years later, which I can't believe. I'm back at it doing the YouTube. Oy, I must have planted the seed, been planting the seeds long enough, and I never thought that this opportunity to hook up with IMTV would be a fabulous opportunity. And yes, because it's YouTube, you can watch it on your phones. Now, I know most of you will be watching the replay of this because by 9 a.m. Eastern, you're at work or in homeschooling land. So I know most of you will be watching the replay of this, but we're going to have fun and interview some inspirational women and inspirational guys at that to empower the women in their lives and knock it off with the living in man's society and just empowerment. It's all about empowerment and be healthy in your own body. And unfortunately, now this is public, so I don't mind talking about it. Unfortunately, on June 23rd, 2019, 1 month after losing my dad on May 19th of 2019, yes, and he empowered me to live my dreams, and he supported my books, and he supported my podcast just a little bit. But 1 month after losing him, I got emotionally abused. So this is why I came up with the winning with win concept and presented it to IMTV because those of you who have been emotionally abused slash physically abused know what I'm talking about. When the abuser won't let you go to get help. So if you are looking and if you're watching this and you're in that situation, my recommendation would be go get help. And so my recommendation would just go get help. I mean, that's why I'm trying to empower people to get people out of these situations and out of whatever they may be in to face their own elephants in the room and empower themselves to go to take the leap into entrepreneurship or to take the leap into a creative day job or to take the leap into something they never thought their wildest dreams. For example, I never thought I would be hooking up with an international broadcast team. I mean, my director of this show is sitting in India, and I never thought that I would be hooking up with IMTV, let alone being a guest on IMTV, let alone being a panelist, and let alone having my own TV show. So let the wild divides begin. 10 years later, I'm doing it with help. And I will say this again, I will preach this again. I need help. I have a physical disability. So even though I can do YouTube, even though I can do podcasting by myself, I I need help. I need the platform, and I need the resources out there. Then once you give me those resources, I take my training wheels off. I will fly. I will fly. So I hope that you guys will tune in and listen and maybe have it on in the background. Shh, don't tell your boss because I don't want to get you guys in trouble at work. But for those of you that are solo entrepreneurs, you can actually listen to it because you are just working on your own stuff. For those of you in the daytime, yeah, you might have to watch this when you get home, but it's still gonna be up there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just doing this Monday mornings and interviewing in women's empowerment and interviewing amazing women and amazing men. And so here we are sitting in a world pandemic. I never thought that I would be a journalist in a world pandemic, and it's not good. It's not good. And so my whole thing is giving people hope. My whole thing is giving people extreme hope. My whole thing, what I keep teasing my fan base about on my podcast, is that if someone isn't inspired to put a mask on, go into work, work a 8 hour day, and then come home and do their home responsibilities, whether it's a mom, whether it's a dad, whether it's grandma responsibility. Um, my job is done. My job is done. If they can take one piece of wisdom away from me, my job is absolutely done. And my job, I've received my paycheck. I've received double this morning. I've received my paycheck. And my job is to empower you guys to go out there and live an extraordinary life. Now, please, please, please tune in to the other amazing shows we have. And please follow me on Facebook. I'm on the Win, WIN, called CHARLAS. And my podcast, my own podcast, is AskWin. Could be found on any podcasting player of your choice, Apple, Android, the Amazon smart speaker, and soon to be on Google. And so it's a great pleasure to be a show host at IBMTV, not I thought I was going to be a little old panelist. I didn't realize I was going to have my own show. When my director reached out to me by email, I said, panelist? I'll say it, panelist, thank you very much. But I didn't realize that I was going to have my own show. And so we'll have fun with it. As I said, I've already got people lined up to be interviewed. And I just, if you want to in if you want to be interviewed, please let me know via email. My email is aspenwin@gmail.com, and please just send people my way. As I said, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and then you can also get my assistant on Facebook and Twitter. My assistant who helps me out with my own podcast. So, yeah. So that is that, you guys. And I just want to say, just be empowered to to go live an extraordinary life. I mean, my whole thing is being the empowered woman that I am with the gift of cerebral palsy. I don't consider this as a disability, even though it is. I consider it more as a gift, and I consider it more as a blessing than a curse, even though behind that blessing, a curse did come. Three curses came, one of them being me being emotionally abused just because I had a disability. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was the same person that emotionally abused me, also physically abused me. Yeah, that was a fun one. And so for those abuse victims out there watching this or get a hold of me in some way, form, or fashion, you're welcome to come on this platform or my own podcast and share your story, because the more hope we give to these victims, the better off we're going to be. And so that's all I have to say to you guys. And welcome to Winning with Win. I mean, geez, here we are in 2020 and using laptops and cell phones to be journalists. And yes, I am getting my degree in journalism. For those of you that don't know, I already have a degree in education. I don't know whether education hated me or I hated it, but as I said, I lost my job due to COVID. So I am happy as clam sitting in my corner doing my work as a journalist. I'm even more happier now that I've hooked up with IMTV to um, to absolutely figure it out and to absolutely have a broader platform of my message and of my reach. And I know with the YouTube algorithms, it's a little bit easier to find ASKWIN. And for those of you, and IMTV, for those of you that want to find AskWin, just go look up my active YouTube channel, either Win's Women of Wisdom, which is no longer active, or my YouTube channel under Win WIN Charles, and my podcast automatically goes to YouTube the way I have it set up. So it automatically gets distributed to YouTube, and then it will I have content on that until May of 2021. And so I'm pretty confident that because of IMTV, my podcast will grow in leaps and bounds because of the international reach that I have. And I don't know if you guys know this, but with YouTube can be stagnant and people can just come back and they don't necessarily have to watch it live. They can come back and figure out what they want to watch on YouTube or what they want to watch on any YouTube channel. So people don't have to necessarily watch it live. People have to, they just have to be willing to be educated and willing to learn about what's going on. and then they just have to be willing to be educated about what's going on. I mean, we can't be living in a world pandemic without being educated. And so now they said back in March at the beginning of all this monkey business that went on, they said now is the time to learn something new. So I challenge you guys, now is the time to learn something new, and now is the time to just succeed in your day job or in your solo entrepreneur journey. And now is the time to be on the job. Now is the time to succeed at your job, whether your job is giving you pushback, which I know I used to be a retired educator. I know you guys who are watching this who are still in the education space. God bless you for that, because I can't do it anymore. I know that the educators are having a heck of a time doing it, um, doing it as well as all the rest of it. And help. Jimmy says, help is the hardest thing to ask for. Yes, Jimmy, I agree with you that, and Jimmy is a long time supporter of IMTV. I see a couple other comments coming in, and those of you that have comments, you can leave them at the bottom of in the comment sections of YouTube, and someone will get them to me, or you can contact me directly through askwin.webelize.com, or my email address, askwin@gmail.com, or find me on social media. And now I have to practice what I preach. I just practice what I preach in saying it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to, let's say if you're going into a job interview, it's okay to interview them as much as they're interviewing you. I mean, we're not all fit for the 9 to 5 educational job here. At least I wasn't. And when I go back into a W 2 job, if I have to and I want to, but I'm going to find one that's more creative for me and my journalism style. My journalism style is I like to talk. I don't um, like to necessarily have set questions, but I will, if you guys need me to, have set questions. And also, the other thing is if you want to send me set questions to answer every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and so you can also send me those questions, and I'll get them approved, and I'll get them all set up so that you can have those questions answered live, or you can just send me those questions and I'll do an episode about. I'm trying to get the IMTV crew on my podcast to talk about IMTV to give it more press coverage, but they haven't necessarily responded to me yet. But because they're so busy hosting me and hosting many different entrepreneurs on this shows, many different poli- politics shows, economic shows. I mean, geez, we have the gamma there. And so that's why they haven't necessarily got back to me. But when they do, I'll be happy to talk to them about IMDb And yes, of course, IMTV has to approve my questions, but as long as you guys all be respectful of this platform and of me, which I know you guys are, because you know me and have been following me for at least the past 10 years. And so, um, you guys will pretty much get what you want on this show. And as I said, if you have a guest that you want me to interview live on StreamYard using the properties of IMTV, let me know, DM me, and email me, follow me on social media, and then you will see what is going on. And if you follow IMTV on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, number one, for IMTV, and please hit the bell notifications for IMTV. And if you just want to follow me on IMTV, all you have to do is just hit the reminder on IMTV, and I'm giving you this. It's 7 a.m. Mountain Time, it's 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and it's 6:30 p.m. International Dateline Time. So we have a show host in Africa. Mind Closet 101 is based out of Africa, Brother Blow, and I've been on his show twice, and all educating him about cerebral palsy. I get to be on his show as a guest. On Friday, so please tune into Mind Closet 101 if you want to see some amazing guests. I sat last week as a panelist on that one, and yes, um, I welcome panel discussions with my guests and myself about women's and men's empowerment. And we're just going 9 times out of 10 IMTV is a panel show, although we do have main host and main guest, and they left me alone this morning because they asked me, they didn't leave me alone on purpose. They asked me, do you want me to be in the show? I directed it, and I said, no, this is so easy for me. I can just talk to a camera and talk to you guys. But now that I have a international um, audience, I feel better. For the longest time, I didn't feel good about talking to myself, but now that I have an international audience, I will feel better. But I'm excited to see what winning with Nguyen brings IMTV, let alone and me, of course, because this is great honor and great privilege. And so, again, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications, you guys, on all IMTV shows, and then set a reminder for the pink and women's flower image on 9 a.m. Monday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern, and then 7 a.m. Mountain Time and 6 a.m. Pacific. So hit that reminder button and hit also the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications on every show that we have, but especially hit that remind button on Monday mornings for my show. And remember, it's the black woman figure with the flowers, and of course, it's my picture on the front. So for those of you that were wondering what I'm holding in that picture, by the way, I'm actually holding my book, which is now a 10-year-old book, and 11 books have spawned off that book, and that book is called I, Win. And you'll see that picture floating around. I use it as my professional marketing picture. And so you'll see that picture floating around. I've given it to so many podcast hosts, including IMTV, that it's not even funny. And in fact, I use it on my own YouTube channel as well. So you'll recognize that picture. And the other thing is, I wanted to say about your brand is if you're so lucky to hook up with IMTV like I was, um, always use a professional picture. Always use a professional picture that will empower people and entice people to click on whatever the content is you're providing. Always, always, always use a professional picture, and let me know if you ever need YouTube coaching or if you ever need podcast coaching. Always let me know privately. And as I said, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll search for my name. It should pop up. Win, WIN, Charles, CHARLS. And yeah, you guys can follow me and support me, and let's get this show rocking and rolling. And I will be here, as long as capabilities allow, I will be here every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and 6 a.m. Pacific. And you welcome to come in. And yes, Kim, I would love you to come in. And Kim, my other producer, is going to let herself in because, see, I wasn't going to be left alone. Namaste.
Oh, no, I've been listening. I've actually enjoyed so much. I want to interrupt.
You've been listening. I know that.
Since the very beginning when you started. I mean, wow, Win, I was so impressed. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I want to join in because I know how hard it is to sit there and talk and keep the airtime alive. But I noticed you've gotten some comments, which is fabtabulous. I want to share with the world something real quick. I want people to know that this woman is so inspiring. She is a woman who says, why not? She is a woman who gets up every day with challenges that you nor I could ever imagine in life, and she makes things happen. And why is that? Because she has the resilience that we're each born with that sometimes we forget about. We lose that appreciation for. But when you're disabled, you learn to appreciate every valuable moment in your life, every valuable asset you have in your body, and it becomes your will. It becomes your will to live. It becomes your will to share. It becomes your will to motivate others. And I just want people to know it is the hardest thing in the world to ask for help. I noticed you had a comment on that as well, but you had mentioned that you get up and you ask for help. It's when you learn to ask for help and you can win, then you can give back. You see that circle? But what people don't understand is when you give, that is empowering too, because you might not have a purpose in life, and then all of a sudden now you have a purpose in life. But it all builds our ecosystem. But when you've done something a lot of people haven't done. You set goals and you've achieved them. 60,000 downloads. Your goal is 400 a day, and we're going to help you get there. We're going to work with you. We're going to help. We're going to be doing hashtags. We're going to be cheering. We're going to get music going. We're going to get all of this thing. But what is one of the things that you would like to do as a call for action to the people? Because we're in a powerful month, okay? We're in a month for women. This month is awareness for breast cancer, awareness for domestic violence. I'm wearing my awareness pin.
Violence. Thank you. I was just going to say that
Yeah.
we're in a powerful month for women, and and I think I told you guys this before Kim showed up. I know I told you guys this. Um, in the generalized abuse society, because even though never, I have witnessed domestic violence, but I have been on sideline too, witnessing domestic violence. And even though I have never been in a situation of domestic violence myself, I have been emotionally and physically abused, and I want to make one thing clear. My stepmom, my stepsister, my aide did not touch me. Um, my story is two family members walking in my house. They didn't like what they were seeing, and 1 month after my dad died, they tried to take everything I knew away from my life. And at the time, I was still in grief mode, and and so they tried to take everything away knew in my life, and they tried to take one of them. They tried to take my podcast away in the midst of taking everything else away. And so I want to make that clear that domestic violence or physical and emotionally abuse can happen by anyone to anyone. I just happen to be a disabled woman, that my population of people with disabilities, it's a whole host of people who get these icky things happened to them because we need help. Depending on the severity of our disability, we need help. And so, for those of you that are watching the kickoff of Winning with Win or Win with Win, it's very important that you come on and share your story with me and with all the rest of the panelists on who are going to be joining me, and with all the rest of the women who are going to be joining me, and the men too, because what happens if we balk and squawk about it as violence, domestic violence survivors, or physically and emotionally abused survivors, we will put a stigma to the end of it. And then I'm hoping in the next 2 years, if I balk and squawk loud enough about it, it will be over. I won't hear any more stories of it, but it happens when it just happens, and it 9 times happens in my case and in general when alcohol isn't involved. And although you you don't have to be drinking, you can just be stressed out and take it out on family that you love. But there's a better way to do it, and I'm a huge believer in counseling. And I have a question for you, Kim. Since you're wearing a pin, I want to know: have you been stuck in those situations personally? I know you do along with it. I know you work as an advocate for yourself in North Carolina, and I know you've done some advocacy work in Mass. But have you ever been stuck in a situation that you couldn't get yourself out of?
Ooh, I have been stuck in situations. Um, my position on advocacy is because of family members who've been in domestic violence, and my journey took me there when my sister was a victim, and I was sitting in court when we had restraining orders. And I'll never forget this as long as I live, because I really didn't understand it. Okay. I did not understand the dangers, the statistics. I just knew we were dealing with a situation we couldn't control. And I sat there just mad as a hornet, if you know what a hornet is.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there listening to a DA say there's nothing else we can do, and the judge, and I'm like, wait a minute, we got a restraining order. And this police officer or whoever leaned over. He whispered in my ear. He said, by the time you're aware that order is violated, it's too late. And oh my God, I just melted, because I'm such a powerful, nothing can get in my way. I'm disabled too. Okay. I have one of the world's rarest diseases in my spine, and I have fought and struggled. I've laid incapacitated for a year and learned how to reuse my legs and my arms. So I understand what you go through every day. I understand the frustrations of relearning muscles and when you don't have them. So I rebuild. God has given me a blessing, and I try to use it. But I'm sitting there, and I have this brain of technology that God gave me. And I go, how can I put this to good use to stop this? Because technology can do that. So I started going out, and when did you know the statistics just in the US alone are 12 million female victims a year? That's 26
I did not know that. I did not know that.
24 million children. This is just the US. The statistics are the same in the UK. They're about the same in India, Africa. Each country has about 24 children per year that are victims, and we do nothing about it. It is the most silent crime in the world. The other problem that exists is that it's the most dangerous crime an officer is dispatched for. Okay. Yeah. And the statistics show that within the first 48 hours that a protective order is violated, or the first 48 hours after an offender is released from prison or jail with a protective order, they will violate that protective order. And the crime that they violate is worse, because it's like having that protective order against them is like throwing gas on a fire. So usually they'll get out of prison, and we know this. We know the nature of the beast. Yeah. Instead of having a coffee shop session with them to calm them down and maybe guide them and make them go to some counseling, they're released from jail. They're angry. They stop by their best friend's house. They get a gun and they go after the victim. Right. So the crime has a lot of things that we are aware about that they do nothing about. The crime cost us over $6.8 billion a year. And I've had mathematicians, I have had economic experts question me on this. And I get my stats from a small town in North Carolina that has beaten the crime. Okay. They give me, they do the homework and the stats on this. And I've had an economic expert doubt me, and he went out and did the crunching on it. And he came back to me, he goes, oh my God, you're so right. Our country spends $6.8 billion a year on this crime, and we complain that there's a problem. So we do have a solution. The solution exists. It's an invented patent that I have. I need to get it launched and out there. But let me share you about this small town. As you're aware, this crime is more about an A dominant person, the alpha, taking control of a situation. We were talking about this on Spiritual Saturday, which I saw you texting going, I want to be there too and talk. And we're going to have these conversations but this small town in North Carolina got sick of it. Their crime was really high because they hit poverty. They lost all of their businesses. It was a mill town. It was a furniture manufacturing town. And all of the businesses shut down when things got outsourced to other countries. Kid you not, the police took over the situation. They got sick and tired of it being the worst, most dangerous crime they have. So they team up, right? But when they get a registered offender, they put the registered offender to accountability. So they have literally reduced their statistics that were very, very high in that little bitty town. It's a small town, so I can't remember all of the stats, but they reduced the recidivism of that crime to zero. Zero. The fatalities, they've dropped down to zero. I think, the fatalities in the U.S. are 10,000 per year. That's more than in war in 10 years. So 10,000 per year is our fatality rate. They estimate it to go higher this year because more victims are left at home alone. But think about this. If you could take a crime like that and reduce it to zero, wouldn't you want to follow that footprint?
That's amazing.
Zero,
No,
zero.
that's
They
crazy.
make those guys, they make them accountable. If you are a registered offender, you have to go to meetings. You have to go to a town hall meeting once a month. If you are caught violating your order in any little bitty way, you're slammed up against the wall. The police are going to lock you up. There is no second chance. It is not a second chance. He said, she said. It's a, all right, we feel like there's a violation here. We're going to chill it out. They make
Okay,
people talk about it.
Mark Lee, you have a question.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry. I took over. Yeah, this is Wynn's show.
you took over. You took over, Kim, but that's okay.
No,
And
talk to Mark
so,
Lee. What did Mark Lee say?
Mark Lee,
What do you have?
I will read the question now that it's blowing up on screen. What
Yours.
what advice would you give to fellow podcasters and entrepreneurs? Well, I'll start with the podcasters end of it. I would say if you have a passion, and I know Mark does work with IMTV, and Kim remind me of his show. Thank you. Remind me of Mark's show. Mark, stick it in the comments and have someone blow it up. But what I was going to say is you need to be consistent with it. You can't just be nilly willy with a podcast, or you need to have it be consistent, and have you can't be you need to be consistent. Like my time slot is 7 a.m. Monday mornings. My for my podcast, it's Sundays, Thursdays, and Mondays. So Sundays and Mondays, and then Thursdays. And so what it needs to be is consistent. And when you're dealing with entrepreneurship is the hardest thing ever. But when you're dealing with entrepreneurship, you need to not only have that support system, but you need to have those public cheerleaders, those silent cheerleaders that will pick you up off the ground, honestly, when you have a disability and say, yes, you can do this. And yes, you can get on YouTube at 7 a.m. and do this. Or you need to have those silent and public cheerleaders.
Yeah, something when you were talking about women empowerment too, but let's talk about what he was talking. Like you said, consistency for podcasters. I worked with Walter Football, who has 6 million fans, and he said the same thing. You have to consistently be there every week, same time, and so that the viewers get warmed up to you and they know you're always there. Even if it means pre-recording some of your shows, if you can't be there live, consistently turn that button on every week. One of the things I want to talk about is women in tech and empowering women. I have this little nickname for women in tech called Witch. Women in Tech Changing History. Witches, I love witches. A lot of people misinterpret witches. They think that witches are bad or evil because we got that perception painted for us many years ago. But women were just scientists, right? That people didn't understand. Witches were just scientists, and they were picked on because truly most of them owned their own property, and that's why they were stoned or burned. It wasn't because they were bad or evil. They would change the laws on them so they could arrest them and own their land. But I have this little, it's Halloween month too, right? And women empowering. And I don't know if you guys can see my little witch.
I can.
Okay, life is a witch, and then you fly. Okay. But I want women to, sometimes you need something to unite us, right? Again, a witch was just somebody who was just a scientist, a lot of time for health reasons, right? They were out there mixing up herbs and finding things to make you healthy, heal your skin, heal your insides. But they got such a bad perception because of the way people wanted to own them or control them. Truly powerful people were afraid of them because women could make changes, right? And So, and again, they were just misinterpreted. I love witches. This is my favorite time of the year. I wish I could get with my sister. She's a witch fan as well, and we would go visit where the witches' trials were held, and read, the stories, and it's just a sad, empowering moment. But then I look at, where are we today, right? You know, a few hundred years ago, we were being stoned and burned and hung, drowned. A lot of times they would drown a witch. They would put them underwater. And if you live in 7 minutes, then you're a witch. So then we're going to stone you. So you'd be better.
Why not?
Yeah. So
what right? Witchcraft, you guys. We're talking about women in technology, which is huge. And we're also talking about domestic violence. And I read at the beginning of the pandemic that domestic violence has gone up because of the lack of social isolation for all of us. And so women in tech, and I consider myself a woman of tech, even though I don't. It's not STEM, it's not my forte, journalism is, but I consider myself a woman of technology. And so domestic violence has gone up. We got to focus on what we do have versus what we don't have.
That's right. And we're almost at the hour, so we'll work on a wrap. And I want you to, again, share with the world who you are, what this show means to you, and a call for action to all of us on how we can help other people become as successful as you are.
Well, my call to action, and this may sound cheesy because it's coming off Nike slogan of just do it. Thank you very much. Just do it. And my other call to action is please support IMTV. Please support all of us. Those of you who are in economics, please support Bill, and please support Nick, and please support Ankit and his amazing work, and please support Kim, and please just support IMTV and their amazing work. And as I said, I got hooked up with Blizzard Blow and Mind Closet 101 on Friday mornings, and fortunately for me, I get to be a guest again on Mind Closet 101 and be a panelist / guest. And so I am really honored to be working with you guys. And please support all independent podcast creators and all independent YouTube creators because it's a labor of love.
Wow. And I think that's a beautiful call for action. And thank you for, just promoting us as well, because we can't do it alone. We have to unite. We have to work together. And thank you so much. I'm looking for your, there we go, your video. But before I share your outro, I want the world to see a very powerful voice in our young women world, our little ambassador for the right social manners during COVID.
Coronavirus से कैसे बचेंगे? हैंड होकर और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी तो ऐसे करेंगे अछू अछू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का.
Isn't that sweet, Ren?
That is so sweet. That is so sweet. And my last call for action is use Winning with Nguyen or any of the other shows on IMTV as educational lessons for your kids. Trust me, I believe in screen time as much as you guys do, but at the same time, YouTube could be an educational platform too. It doesn't have to be they're focused on their iPhones all the time. They're focused on chatting with their friends. You can actually sit your kids down and turn on IMTV and have discussions about women's empowerment or economics or what's going on in America with your kids.
And thank you. And we're going to see you next week on Win with Win.
Yes,
Don't watch Win on my closet on Friday.
Friday.
See ya.